Happy December 1st. So it's the 1st of December, and so we're going to talk about productivity, how to make December your most productive December ever. And I'm excited to share that all with you. But I'm sure that a lot of you don't necessarily think about productivity and December together. So I've got a couple of things that I want to do before we get started, sort of housekeeping for those of you that are with us live. So if you have questions for me about this topic or anything, you can enter them in the chat box. And if you start with /Q before that, then I'll see it on this other side where I might actually be able to see them with my eyes without my glasses, which would be great. So /Q. And some of you have already done this, but if you like what you are hearing or you think I say something smart, if you tap your screen, we'll get the little hands and it'll make me happy, and feedback is helpful. And the third thing is, if you are, I think, hold on one second here. Yeah, I've unlocked it. So if you are here and you're live and you have a webcam and you're brave, you can ask to join me, and I have unlocked it so you can join me to ask your question if you'd rather do that rather than type. So all of those things are, having said all those things, let's get on with it because we're here to talk about productivity. So let's do exactly that. Like I said, most people don't necessarily think about productivity and December going together. In fact, most people would say, oh my gosh, you can't get anything done in December. First of all, we're all so busy with other stuff. And second of all, everyone's coasting in December. So if I'm trying to do business now, not a good time to do business because, well, it's just different and it's not going to work. Well, as I wrote in my blog post this week, that's not a very good excuse, because I'm betting that there will be days this month that you are as productive in the big picture as you are anytime. Getting more things done. You're going to more events. You're doing more baking. You're doing Christmas shopping. You're doing a bunch of other stuff. So there's a lot of things that you do get done during this month, even if it isn't necessarily the stuff that you would typically think about as I'm not being productive at work. So you got no excuse for that, because there will be days during this month when you get as much done as any time. So don't lose sight of that fact first. Okay, so there's the first thing. But given that, now that I get that excuse out of your way, I want to talk to you about 5 things that you can do to make your December more productive than it's ever been and more productive than anybody else around you. Whichever one of those matters to you, it'll help you with both. And let me just say that I've already really shared with you a very important contrarian point of view, and that is that one of the ways to get more to be successful compared to others is to do the opposite of what they do. So that's a big part of what all of this is about. It's a contrarian sort of viewpoint, which says you don't have to follow what everyone else is doing. You can leverage this month differently. So with that, let's get into the 5 things. Number 1. First one is to move while others rest. And this is what we were just talking about, right? This is the time when some people at work will coast. This is your chance to speed up. And when you speed up, you will make great progress. Not only will you make the progress, but you will make greater progress in comparison to others as well. So if you want to make your December more productive, speed up. Other people aren't. It's your chance to stand out. If you're at a point in your career where you really want to stand out, this can help you do that. But even just on a purely personal basis, if you just amp up your own focus a little bit more and focus a little bit more on what you want to accomplish, you'll get more done this month than ever. And don't give in to the excuses. All right. The second thing is to learn from those around you. So you're going to find yourself in a lot of situations this month with people that either you haven't seen in a long time or maybe new people. You go to a spouse's Christmas party, you go to a neighborhood gathering of some sort, and so you have the chance to interact with people that you don't already know or you don't interact with often. Here's the thing. Don't just enjoy their company. Please do enjoy their company. But if you want to be productive this month, use that time to be focused on what you can learn from them. Be engaging with them, ask them questions, learn about their business, learn about their hobbies, learn about how what they're doing works and how you can apply it. So there are all sorts of ways for us to learn from other people, of course. It's just that in December, we get this whole other great opportunity to do that with people that we don't know or we don't know well. And I'm encouraging you to not just do the pleasantries, but use it intentionally as a way to learn from those folks. On December the 1st, this morning, I spoke at a very small event and had the chance to interact with some people who I did not know, whose perspective and what they're doing in their world is quite different than mine. So I've already been able to put this to use for myself, and I got some new perspectives and was reminded of some things that will be very helpful to me and make me more productive. I also happen to see some things that I don't necessarily want to replicate for myself, and that's not a judgment about others. It's just that I got the chance to observe some things, say, this is what I want to do, this is what I don't want to do, here's how I can use this. So that was of great value to me. The third one is, this is a season of tremendous energy. Now I know that so the third thing is to capture the energy of the season. So I know that some people are saying the energy of this season, Kevin, is all about, people being in a rush and not paying any attention, and people are fighting to get through the Walmart line to get the cheap TV or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. In my observation, during this month when the radio stations are playing different music and when people are a little kinder on the freeway and you see a few more smiles everywhere you go, that energy is contagious if you let it be. So I encourage you to capture the energy of the season, to lighten your load, to turn up your optimism, to make you a little happier, to help you do all those things. Because here's the reality: is that the energy around us is contagious if we decide to look for what we want to look for. So I wrote this book a number of years ago. It's the first book that I wrote. It's called Vantage Points on Learning and Life, and I think Marissa is going to post the link to it there if you want to learn more. But in this book, I wrote a short piece about Christmas, and I wrote it, and it's entitled, I will show it to you. It says, "Have yourself an awful little Christmas." You're like, what? Have yourself an awful little Christmas? And it really gets at this very point that I'm just making, and is that we can think about the Christmas season as being about the hustle and the bustle and all of that, but I want you to think about that word awful for a second, because there's energy in it either way. So from the book, right here it is, awful. I looked up in the dictionary on my desk when I wrote this a number of years ago, and I looked up the word origins for the word awe and awful and see what I could learn. I went to my dictionary, and here's what I found. Awful. Adjective. Number 1, inspiring awe, highly impressive. 2, causing fear or terrifying. 3, dreadful. 4, full of awe, reverential. And 5, very bad, ugly, unpleasant, an awful joke. Here's the point. Most of us think about definitions 2, 3, and 5 when we think about the word awful. I'm suggesting we think a little bit more about the first definition of the word awful. That's the difference about this energy. You can look at this month and see the energy is not so fantastic. You can look at this energy this month and you can see the greatness in it. You can see the smiles. You can see the joy. You can hear the different music, and you can use all of that energy to your advantage to be more productive, which of course is our point. That's our third point. So far, if you're not keeping up, and by the way, we created this live video is always related to our blog post from earlier in the week, in this case, yesterday, with the same title. And at the end of this one, we included an infographic or a graphic of the 5 main points. Marissa will put that on there so you can link to that as well. And grab that and reuse it and share it. We'd love for you to do that. It would make us all very happy if you do it. There it is. Marissa has put that up there. But I'll go back through the 5 as we go. The first 3 are, so move while others rest, learn from those around you, capture the energy of the season, subtitled, Have Yourself an Awful Little Christmas. Number 4 is, it's the end of the year, so it's a great time to reflect. So the fourth way to be more productive in December is to reflect on the last 11 months. Time spent in reflection on what worked, what didn't, what can I learn from this time is of great value. Now, I'm a big believer in reflection in general. I'm a big believer in reflection at the end of the year and any other time of the year. It doesn't have to be now. It can certainly be at any time. But December is sort of a natural time when we get ready to turn the page of the calendar to the next year. And I'd encourage you to take some time during this month, especially in the last half of the month, to do some reflection on the year. Great productivity can come from slowing down enough to see what I've learned that I want to apply again later or apply later. So that reflection is of great value. And by the way, that's part of how you can do the the second point of learning from others is ask people reflective questions. So what was the best thing that happened to you this year? What was the biggest lesson that you learned this year? These are the kinds of questions that can engage people in that way, and you get learning, they get benefit from that as well. So that's one of the things that you can do back up in point number 2. So we've talked about moving while others rest. We've talked about learning from those around you. We've talked about capturing the energy of the season. We've talked about reflecting. And now number 5 is the golden week. The golden week is the week between Christmas and New Year's. So back in the old days, when I worked in corporate America, there were many years when I worked that week and I was about the only person in the office. And it was phenomenal in terms of productivity because you can get so much more done. So whether you work in an office, whether you work remotely, whether you work for yourself, recognize that that week can be an extremely valuable week for you. It may not be a great week for having meetings with a customer or with a prospect, although I wouldn't discount that because it's a week when you very often can get a hold of people that you might not otherwise get a hold of. Don't assume that everyone else is on vacation just because you're not. That's one thing I would say. But use that golden week specifically to ramp up on important projects. You're going to get much more time that is unopposed. You're going to get time that is with fewer distractions. So use the golden week. Work that week if you can. And if you can, work on important stuff. Don't use it as the clean up my desk before the end of the year stuff. Like, you haven't done that. Look at my desk now and you can see it needs to be cleaned. But I'm not going to do that last week of the year. I'm going to spend time on important forward-looking projects. I'm going to spend time on things that will help us reach our goals and help me reach my goals. That's what you want to do with the golden week. And you say, Kevin, I'm already taking that week off. Then here's what I want you to do. I want you to carve out some time for yourself, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I want you to carve out some time to work on your plans for next year. Take some time for yourself, even if it's during a family holiday, a family time. Find a way. If you're on a vacation, find a way to get a few hours away from everyone else. Get up a little early. Take a walk. Do something where you can get some time, some of this valuable golden week time to work on things of high productivity for you. And I strongly encourage you to do that. So those are the 5 things that I encourage you to do that will help you get more productivity out of this week. Again, you can click on the link that you see there from Marissa to get the graphic. Hope you'll do that. Take a look. Share it with others in all your social media channels. That would be great. But here they are again. They are to move while others rest, to learn from those around you, to capture the energy of the season, to reflect on the last 11 months, and to use the golden week wisely. One more thing. This month changes our diet. Right? There's more sweets. There may be more alcohol. I'm going to encourage you to think carefully about both. And I'm not saying not to enjoy a cookie, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't enjoy a toast. I'm just saying to think about those in the framework of this productivity thing. Because I eat a whole bunch of cookies, I'm probably not going to be very effective when I want to get down to being at my best. So I'm just encouraging you. So it may help your weight, which I'm on the first one on that list that needs to work on it. But beyond that, just as it relates to productivity, I'd encourage you to think about your diet this month. Lots of temptations. Be aware of them. Be intentional. Be conscious. I'm not suggesting that you don't do any of those things. Just be conscious and be intentional about it. If you do those things, you'll have a more productive December. So I hope that this has been useful for you. It's been fun for me to share this in a slightly deeper dive than I'm able to do on a blog post. And so I hope that you found it useful. If you did, share it with others. And by all means, really, if you found this useful, the most important thing that you can do is take advantage of these ideas and make your December your most productive one ever. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here. I'll talk to you again soon.